I was a primary school teacher for 6 years. Then after 100,000 subscribers, I started going into the political sphere. Typically as Asians, we lean towards the Labour. However, Labour's stance on the whole Gaza thing and not even his ability to talk against Israel is pathetic.
I don't like Trump.
He has a very right-wing base over there.
But there's one thing that he's doing is, I guess, recalibrating the whole
Gender situation. You can't put right or wrong under a microscope because they believe in all that they see. Then what happens is people follow their desires. They will take their pleasures to be their gods. Then what do you expect when they believe morality is subjective? It's strange because people are having more relationships with AI than they are with human beings.
Where does it all end?
Like, you can't support that at all. What do we do? Where will people get their morality from? Society is not paying attention to God anymore.
What on earth is going on, man? What is all of this nonsense?
Bro, it's time.
It's time already?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go. Another big episode today, bro. Bro, my dad's been on my case for the last week. I need to send him money in Bangladesh.
So what's stopping you, bro?
Bro, it's long. The queues are endless. And have you seen where they're located? Red routes, nowhere to park. Nah, man. Oh, the guest is here, by the way. We gotta go.
Come on, bro. Why don't you use what I use?
What do you use?
Basically, it's this app that I use. It's called Taptap Send. And bro, it's a game changer. I don't have to go to these money transfer shops. I don't have to wait in the queues and I don't have to get a parking fine. It's all on my phone. And I can use my card to send money back home instantly.
So what's the catch?
Bro, there is no catch. In fact, it's quite the opposite. No hidden fees, no transfer fees, and on top, if you use the KSR code, you get £20 credit.
Say no more. £20, yeah? I'm gonna download the app right now. My dad's gonna love me for this.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Problem solved. Now let's get inside. We've got a killer episode to record.
Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, supporters and well-wishers, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into, because it is your subscription that motivates me and my team here at Side by Side to continue what we are doing. This episode has been sponsored by Taptap Send. Assalamu alaikum, brother Zeeshan, also known as Smile2Jannah. Welcome to Side by Side.
Thanks for having me. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
And how do you say what was that? How did you pronounce Side by Side?
Side by side.
Okay, you have to add
It's gotta be done that way, isn't it? It's gotta be.
Brother Zeeshan, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you. I mean, I've been following your journey for a very long time. I've been watching your content for years now. And I think you know my brother as well, Sheikh Ashik. He's an imam. And last time I saw you was in Spider Park. There was this Palestine march.
Spider-Man.
Spider Park.
Okay.
And then I was like, I need to speak to him, but then I didn't want to interrupt you. But alhamdulillah, I've got you all to myself for the next.
He's the guy that owns a Porsche, isn't it?
That's that's older than him.
Oh, there's one clip of him.
Yeah,
Porsche.
that's the one. That's the one.
him,
That's the one. Yeah,
Okay.
Sheikh, what do you do for a living?
Oh,
That one, yeah.
He's your brother, right?
Yeah, my brother.
Ah, mashallah.
So there's 5 of us. I'm the middle one, and then he's slightly just younger than me, slightly.
Being the middle one.
It comes with its challenges, doesn't it?
I've heard like the middle one. It's the middle ones typically tend to be more balanced. That's what I've heard. But they also, because they've got the best of both sides, isn't it? You've got that extreme
Yeah.
elders, then you've got the small ones. And you tend to be more balanced, but you also tend to get left out.
True.
Aww.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I feel it. No, I don't feel it.
Is it my podcast or yours?
Allahu Akbar. So, Brother Zeeshan, take us back in time, because people know you as Smile2Jannah, and that's all they know you. And the way you do your, mashallah, signature, Assalamu alaikum da'wah. Can you do that for me?
Assalamu alaikum.
So we know you as that.
You have to clear the old sinuses, everything has to be clear, you know. None of that mouth breathing nonsense.
Okay.
That's mad, you know.
He has to go straight through the nose.
Straight from the nostrils. That's
Subhanallah. So that's what people know you as. But give our viewers a bit of a perspective on who you are and where you grew up in, and you know what your early years were like.
Give me a rough time because I don't want to bore them, and sometimes I'll talk about I'll bore myself.
What's your earliest memory?
Earliest memory. Have you heard of the Mandela effect?
No.
So the Mandela effect is sometimes when you hear something or you see something, and then even if it hasn't necessarily happened, you convince yourself that that's true and it actually happened. So the Mandela, it comes from the alleged death of Nelson Mandela, that people were convinced that he died, but in reality, he wasn't really dead. And there's something else. You know that famous line in Star Wars, something, something, I am your father. What do you remember that as?
I don't know.
So you go something, I am your father. You don't remember that quote?
No.
Typically, people remember that quote as Luke, I am your father.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not Luke, I am your father. It's Look, I am your father.
Okay.
So so I guess when you ask me like, what's your earliest memory? I've seen pictures, but then my psyche has convinced me that I remember when I was really small. So I can't really take it 100%. Because you know, sometimes you see a picture and you're like, aha, I remember that. But do you? Is it that you really want to remember it, or do you actually remember it? So there are certain memories like when I'm small and the likes, but if I was to think of reliable memories, it was when I was, when I was a few years old, I guess, with mum living in a bed and breakfast.
Okay.
Just us two.
Okay. Oh wow.
Because my father passed away when I was one,
And
and I didn't have any siblings. So
were you born here?
I was born here,
Okay.
yeah. So we went from bed and breakfast to this place, to that place, this estate, that estate. So those are like the early memories. Yeah, just me and my mom.
Now, for me and our viewers to draw a picture of who you are, what do they
Yeah.
need to know about you? Like, who is Zeeshan? You know, what's he like? You know, give us a bit of a overview.
To be honest, it just reminds me of. It reminds me of. I can't remember where I got this quote from, but they said that you'll always be someone different to someone else. To your mum, you'll always be little Zeeshan. To the people that I knew back in the days, they'll see me as the shy one or whatnot. People that see me now, they'll see me as the YouTuber, the comedy brother. People that understand comedy, they'll say, oh, Zeeshan's funny. He's like the Muslim Mr. Bean. And but then somebody else who's kind of used to me counseling and doing pastoral care of them, because I was a primary school teacher for 6 years. So when I see those kids, they still address me as sir. And because I taught in madrasa as well, they say, oh, Sheikh. So it depends who you're asking, and different people will give different answers. So that's what it is. And sometimes certain people will see you for a split second, maybe at Speaker's Corner, or maybe certain people will see me down the street. So it's up to how I met them and they met me. That's the image they'll have of me. But if you ask me, like, who am I? It's a very difficult question, because even when you look back, I think that question or that thing constantly changes. Like, had you asked me maybe before 10 years, before Smile2Jannah, I was helping other channels. Like, I was working with Nasheed artists like Muslim Bilal. I was doing his, like in those days, HD had just come out. So we would be finding clips and we have their Nasheed and just creating a video out of B-roll footage of, not even B-roll, just the footage of whatever we could find off the internet. Then it was more, then I would help the local kind of shuyukh with filming and uploading and this and that. And then eventually I came on to Smile2Jannah and I started that. But then first I started with sketches, And then I started doing a bit of vlogs and then more comedic stuff like face to cam comedic stuff rather than sketches. Then after 100,000 subscribers, I started going into the political sphere and then more political social commentary with comedy. And now it is mostly that. However, now I'm transitioning a bit, not to being a female. There's not that sort of transition. Transitioning more to Speaker's Corner and doing that. So I've got Smile2Jannah Extra, in which I upload my Speaker's Corner videos and debate with non-Muslims. And then, yeah, the future, I see myself going in another direction. But this is where I am at this moment in time.
And why do you do what you do?
So I do two things. So you've got the political social commentary. I do that because I genuinely find that stuff interesting and I feel that it's important. I think now more people or more Muslims are becoming more political and social conscious. But when I used to do it, not that many people would be talking politics and what's going on socially from a Muslim background. It would be, and then I thought this will inform their religion more. And I think that if you are a religious person and you are conscious of what's going on in the society and politics, it just adds another dimension to you. Because people just expect you to be, oh, he's just going to be talking about religion, etc. This makes you more dynamic. So it was that, like being a teacher, I understood, or I was like, okay, I want the kids. I'm always bashing the people that are online, but it doesn't really matter much coming from me. So why don't I go there? And then if I speak to them, it will carry more weight. And that indeed was true. It did carry more weight. Then on top of that, there was a channel that was, he was a Muslim. I don't want to drop his name, but he was a Muslim. But some of the comedy he would do would be, scholars would say he's crossed the line now, and he's mocking the religion. So that I was like, a lot of people are complaining about this sort of stuff, but there needs to be a counterweight to that, an Islamic somewhat version to that, in which we do follow the boundaries. So there was that aspect of why I did it. And number 3, I think comedy is really untapped. A lot of people, even non-Muslims, when they view the content, they're like, I didn't know you were like that. I didn't know you guys would joke around, mate. They said, I like you, mate. I think you're better than the rest, mate. They need to take a leaf out of your book, Dave. So there's that aspect. And I always expected it. I thought, you know what? Comedy is that one thing that it transcends barriers. Like we always get bashed over the head with the fact that, oh, you guys can't take a joke and you guys are too rigid and this and that. But then when you start joking about them, then they get taken aback, like, damn, we can't really say that to them because like we say it to them. So like if they're saying it to us. So I think it's, don't give it if you can't take it, is what I say to them. So comedy is a very good way of getting across certain principles that if said without comedy would come across as, whoa, what's going on here, mate? But through comedy, I think it's a very interesting way to maneuver out
You
of
can
that.
just lay it without really offending someone.
That's it. And I think that's it's very unused. It's growing now, but it's unused within our communities. So that was another thing I wanted to do. And also you get to enjoy your work. You get to enjoy, once we made a video, it's not always like, oh, okay, I have to get this right, I have to get that. There is like, you get to be a bit loose. People, there's so much, bro. Like I can literally give you a list. But Speaker's Corner, it's now when you're seeing people drift away from religion, I think a lot of effort or those arguments that help people come back on religion, I've always kind of admired that. And I've always wanted to have a piece of that pie. I was like being there and helping somebody that's on the cusp of kufr and bringing them back in. That for me is definitely an honor to do. And I've always wanted to do it. And I genuinely enjoy doing it. Learning, like before I would listen to scholars talking and this and that. And yeah, you listen to it, but you listen to it to become motivated. But now I listen to that sort of stuff so I can then pass it on to somebody else. So it's more of an incentive for me to pay attention.
So is YouTube your employer now, or do you have any other form of employment?
Yeah. There's a few, but YouTube definitely. I think the advantage of YouTube being the employer is I don't have to. I don't want to put it down by saying, but it feels like a begging bowl. You know, when you're, even if you have a GoFundMe or whatever it is, this gives you a sense of independence. Obviously, the ads and everything, you have to be careful, and there's a way of filtering certain haram ads and whatnot. But YouTube is an employer, but not the only employer. I've been waffling in a lot of these questions. You know, if you want more concise answers, we can start again if you want.
No. It's not waffling. It's not waffling. Yeah. Don't worry.
Because you asked me, you're like, okay, so. Who are you right now? And I'm like, yeah. So,
but you know what the beauty is? You've kind of given a 360 view of who you were. You said like, okay, you were teaching in madrasa, you were a school teacher. You said so many things.
Eventually, I got there. Isn't it?
Alhamdulillah. So that was the whole idea. So no, it's very good. So what else do you do apart from making videos?
I have a news channel called s2jnews.com in which we cover news pertaining the Muslim Ummah. I do Dawah. So in order to, of course, whether it's Sunday at Speaker's Corner or Friday at Leicester Square, which I need to do more of, the rest of the week pretty much is revising, building up, because the knowledge is incredibly deep and there's so much you need to know just for a few hours at Speaker's Corner, whether it's Hinduism, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, whether it's liberalism, whether it's even politics, whether it's psychology. There's so many different fields. So when you go there, you'll speak to somebody and you'll be like, I need to touch that up a bit more. And the week will be spent doing classes, doing independent work, content creating, writing articles, and then, of course, dividing that amongst family and friends. And also studying. Well, I would say a lot of time goes in studying. So I want to get into counseling and psychology. So that's something that's where I see myself like veering off.
It seems like you're very interested. You're quite inquisitive about people's behavior and why people do what they do and what makes them tick, and what makes them do what they want to do.
This is something a classic thing a middle child would say.
I'm quite inquisitive as well, and then I do like the idea of the whole debating, the Speaker's Corner idea. But I'm frightened, man. Like imagine I go and speak to someone and they just finish me. Yeah. How does it work? Like, do you just go and dip your toes in a bit and see what it's like, or do you have to be really prepared?
It's like you said, isn't it? Like mashallah, your family is or you're business orientated. So with that, I can say the same thing. You can start a business and then you can just get finished. So then somebody could say, I'm afraid to do it. So what would you say to that person?
Jump back up.
But also the ends justify the means, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here you look at the goal, and then if you are struggling or you think something is uncertain, you work towards mitigating those risks. So that's exactly what it is over there. That you're right, it can seem intimidating. However, you mitigate those risks and you stick by what you're strong at. So I initially, when I started off, I stuck by atheism because that's something I was comfortable with. That's something that I was developing. I didn't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. And then slowly, now Christianity is on the rise. So I've had to kind of incorporate that as well. And then Hinduism. And then slowly, it's just like anything else in life. You stick a child who's like 7, 8 into university, he's going to become overwhelmed. You have to start them off with primary, secondary, college, sixth form, then university. So similarly over here as well. Know your limitations and don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Like Imam Malik would say. Somebody asked him, he said, I don't know. Oh, what about this? I don't know. What about this? I don't know.
It's so important to know what you don't know as well.
Exactly. And a lot of us go about it. Let me ask you, for example, you know what love is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, define it.
Love has many meanings, like you said before. Like,
give me one meaning, brother. Ek bata do yaar.
Love. I guess I'm going to talk about my children. Affection, really just doing whatever it takes, to be there for them.
So you've mentioned two things, which is affection and sacrifice.
Yeah.
Then if I was to ask you what is sacrifice, do you see? So here you've defined love as sacrifice and then affection as sacrifice. But affection and sacrifice have their own places.
Yeah.
Love has its own thing. But sometimes, like you might even as you're on your way home, you might be thinking about that bearded guy was asking about love. What is love? And then the more you reflect on it, it seems something we take for granted, but what is it? And to different people, it will mean different things. But we do take that word for granted and we throw it around very cheaply. And that's why in marriages and the likes, it's lost meaning because people will just use it every other day. So I think that's what it is. I don't remember how we started talking about love. From
I don't know either, but let's go. Let's make a bit more progress.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Speaker's Corner and the whole idea, how to, get into it. And then you were talking about, knowing your subject matter, and it's important to saying
I don't know.
I don't know.
So Imam Malik would say I don't know, and then you said that it's good to know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I gave the example of love, saying that love is an example of that which we think we know, but we don't really know. And if we were to introspect more on this, it would maybe open doors for us.
No, absolutely. And I think another thing, people, and I think it goes hand in hand, knowing what you don't know or accepting what you don't know is also, people don't listen these days. They just listen to jump with an answer.
Yes.
They are just waiting to say their part, but they're not actually listening. I see that a lot.
That's a very, very profound point, to such a degree that a lot of relationships break down because you didn't listen to what the other person said. And sometimes the other person now will be put off speaking to you because you don't pay attention. And I think the reason why I just reiterated that, because I want the audience to know how important this point is. Don't listen just to talk.
Yeah, listen to listen.
Listen to listen.
You're married, right? You got children, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, all good. You're going to become a psychologist and, all
Inshallah.
of that. So it's going to get even better because you're going to understand the whole dynamic of relationship. Because I've read a book. It's called Men Are From
Menopause.
Men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different language. It's like, they speak a different language and we speak a different language. But it's important for us to speak in their language and they speak in our language so we understand each other.
Yeah.
So normally, and also like love language, I kind of come across that, maybe about 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, let me take this test and, let me see what's my language. And then it came across.
Did you, was it positive?
It's what's that called? Act of service. That's me. Act of service. And my wife is.
Explain act of service for the people that don't know.
Act of service is like if me and my wife we had a bus stop. So she's.
So you had the bus stop with her, not her with you.
Let's say we both go into an argument. Hers is giving, like or gifting or something, that language. So what she would maybe do is give me a gift, but I'm like
pair of socks.
Whatever, like or may she would probably go for the most expensive item that she can think of that she thinks will please me. But in my mind, why you give me a gift?
Yeah.
What would work better is if she does something for me nice, makes me some food or something like doing something for me. That's me, and that's more valuable to me than giving a gift. But when I'm trying to make up with her, for example, then I would probably do act of service. But then that's when I need to understand, no, it's gifting, because she understands gifting. Before I used to think she's just materialistic. Like, why, why do you keep buying stuff? Why do you keep, asking me?
Why are you spending my money?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
getting me a gift from my money.
Yeah, I really used to think she's materialistic. But then I realized, no, actually, it's a language and many people are like that.
Yeah.
So since then, I don't call her materialistic anymore. But anyway, listen.
You just tell her to make no.
Make me a cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know what? It's so cheap. It's cheaper than, you know, buying. Well, I do get a few gifts that I need. I put it on a bucket list.
But this is interesting. Like certain people will go like, oh yeah, you just want a sandwich, or you just want this or that. But it's a certified love language.
Honestly, that's more
Acts of
meaningful to
service.
me.
Yeah.
Now you challenge quite a few people, like you hold them accountable. Is that correct? Is my understanding correct? Because from what I've seen on YouTube, you hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Is that a profitable niche to be in as well?
So I do it via Speaker's Corner.
Okay.
I don't refute people online. Like I won't say, oh, you guys done this. That's not me.
But you make a video, like, you know, in a comedic way.
No, I normally, to hold people account, it will be at Speaker's Corner in a debate format. It won't be on social media. On social media, what I'll do is, and that's something that, alhamdulillah, people like the fact that I'm not refuting people. I'm not, oh, this person's done this, that person's done that. That's, other brothers are known to do that. But myself, alhamdulillah, I stick with what I do, just political and social affairs, wrapped in comedy. That's the way I do it. And I stay away from this whole refutation culture. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of it. I do understand that there needs to be a degree of it, but it needs to be done by the people that can do it in the correct way. But for me, I'd rather hold to account somebody at Speaker's Corner to come to me and go, you people, you need to talk about grooming gangs. Like, this is something like, you need to stop your community from doing this. So I'm like, Dave, let's just break this down. Like, what do you mean by that? What are you referring to? Where have you got your information from? And those are the people that I prefer holding to account.
And it's quite satisfying, right? When you can convince them that actually, you know what, the source of information is inaccurate. And
here's the thing, though, and this is another point. Like you need to know that what you have learnt and your form of argumentation is correct objectively, and that's if you have studied it. You bounced off certain people that are good in their fields, and you refined the argument. So when you present it, because some people, like you said, will just speak for the sake of speaking, and they won't give you that satisfaction. However, then after you've conveyed that message to them, for some people, you might have to make it a bit harsher. For some people, they like it softer. That's wisdom for you to tailor the message to that person. Thereafter, after you've spoken to them, that's when you just leave the matter to Allah. And that's where the liberation comes from. And that's where the freedom and enjoyment in that interaction with them comes from. Because you don't feel the need to get a result straight away. And that's, I think, where people ask, like, oh, how comes, you're so calm and this and that? Firstly, you only reach that state of calm when you've been through madness. Like when you've been through heartbreak or death of a loved one, or when you've been through something in life, that's when you're able to kind of have control over your emotions, as they say. Otherwise, you're absolutely right. Like, you will want to get a result from that person there and then. Like, repeat after me. Ashhadu. What is that, mate? I wish ashhadu. Never mind, Dave. Just repeat after me, mate.
Oh, dear. So, I'm going to switch between quick fires and serious conversation because,
I'm
mashallah.
flexible, brother. Just throw anything. Throw it. Something will stick.
What's the most ridiculous conspiracy theory that you think about and sometimes you think is true? It might be true, but it's also ridiculous at the same time.
A ridiculous conspiracy theory. A ridiculous conspiracy theory that I used to think was that celebrities, before they would go on stage, that they would, drink blood. That they would drink blood before going on stage, and they do, and they're cannibalistic and stuff like that. And I thought that was the case until recently. I met a brother who said that he was one of the security guards for some of these celebrities, and he's the one that said that, I've seen a celebrity they've gone to stage and I looked in their glass and it was blood in there. So, I mean, I'm not totally putting that off the table. That sort of stuff is there. And he said that this notion of them going into dark rooms and doing rituals and stuff like that, it's I've seen it. That's what he says.
Wow, that's crazy.
I've heard about it, but now getting it verified and the likes, yeah.
Okay.
Why not why blood? Why not
Exactly.
the Rubicon pomegranate or something?
What's one most ridiculous argument you've had? It could be about anything. It doesn't have to be Speaker's Corner. And did you win?
Yeah. I'd say I won. The guy came. I was asking the guy, "Do you exist?" And then he goes, "I don't know. I'm not sure." And then I go, "You know what? Just give me your shoes. Give me your money. London's expensive. Give me your house keys because I believe I exist. I deserve that stuff more than you." So
Oh dear.
I'd say yeah. And there was another one as well. That one actually went viral on multiple platforms. It was one of my first videos. It was, I think, the first or second time I went to Speaker's Corner, and I was speaking to this guy, and the brothers with the cameras, they were like, "Oh, don't speak to him, don't speak to him." And I was like, "Look, I know what I'm doing, isn't it? And I might be able to maneuver, and because my thing is more comedy and dawah. At that time, that's how I was thinking." It was literally the brother was next to me, and the camera was tilted to the side because he was like, "It's a hopeless conversation." So he said, "Anything I don't see, I don't believe." So I said, "Have you seen your brain?" And then he goes, "No, I haven't." I said, "So you don't have a brain?" He goes, "No." And that clip, bro, went mega viral everywhere. TikTok,
What are we
Instagram.
talking about? How many views?
I mean, I think on one platform it got 4 million, on another one a couple of million. Like on every platform it crossed million
Wow.
at least. So those were shorts. That was the shorts.
If YouTube shut down tomorrow, what would you do next?
If YouTube shut down, that's why I wanted to do the counseling. I would probably help people behind the scenes, like other people that were doing other works and stuff like that, if I needed money and stuff, because I have generated an understanding of marketing and dawah and the field, and people respect the time that I have in it. So I'd be able to do that. I'd be able to maybe join forces with somebody else if they have a platform, maybe start a website, like move things onto there, or at the very least the counseling thing. Like it's something that I genuinely believe it's like the mind is seen as something incredibly abstract, something which is a mystery. When problems happen, people become very, something will be small, but the mind will make it into something incredibly big. So somebody that has basic understanding of psychology and the mind and the brain is able to simplify just by asking a few questions and getting you to respond in a certain way. You are now able to understand something that has been occupying your brain space. So for me, it's definitely something of passion, and I see myself doing that of YouTube.
Does censorship exist?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, it exists objectively. Like you've had now Mark Zuckerberg with the whole Trump campaign openly accepting that, yep, when it came to Hunter Biden's briefcase, we were censoring certain news because of the elections. He's also, it's come out about the censorship of Palestine on the Meta platform. Certain people like, I don't know his name. His name's Sean King. Sean King, who was removed from Instagram because of his intense kind of posting on Instagram. He did eventually accept Islam. He was not a Muslim. He's now accepted Islam,
MashaAllah.
but he's off Instagram because obviously they took him off. And it's very strange. It's like selective censorship. Like there's this woman, don't want to mention her name. Don't want to mention the website either. It's a popular website in which people sell lewd pictures of themselves. So she said in one of the videos that I plan to have intercourse with 1,000 men today.
Okay, I think I've seen
course,
some
of course.
articles on
Of
on
course,
social media
of course.
circulating.
So she's there. However, when you post because TikTok was supposed to end, isn't it, on Trump's inauguration? However, it continued, and people typed in "Free Palestine," and they started getting messages saying, "Oh, we can't, can't allow this being posted." Blah blah blah. So there's, I think, a lot of cases that we can reference in which censorship not only takes place but actively takes place. TikTok definitely is the worst of the platforms.
Is it? I
Yeah.
thought they are more kind of open to drama and spicy stuff.
Spicy stuff, but when it comes to politics and when it comes to certain stories, they're very strict and
Wow.
stringent. You can post anything, even let's just say about Andrew Tate. They will take that video down, even if you're mentioning a news story about him and it doesn't have him. They will take it as hateful, extremist content.
So where are they going to go in the end? I mean, obviously, they're not going to silence everyone, are they? I mean, where is it all leading to, do you think? Can they shut everyone up?
Brother, after the question, he says, "Where is all of this going?" Ask you if you're alive. We have two schools of thought in this. You have the Orwellian school of thought, and you have the Huxley school of thought. Yeah. Ironically, I did a couple of videos with
Dr. Zakir Naik.
Dr. Zakir Naik, and a brother said that it reached him
Mm.
and he liked it. So because I always had this thing like, does it come under backbiting or something? So when he gave it the stamp, I was like, alhamdulillah, it's good. So when it comes to the future, this is a very good question, because you've got two writers that are very popular in British culture. You've got George Orwell, who wrote 1984 or 1981, and then you've got Huxley, who wrote Brave New World. Both of them are dystopian views of the future. However, Orwell says, and he's of the opinion, that governments will become more and more authoritarian. They will take more of your rights away, and they will become more invasive. However, Huxley is of the opinion that governments won't need to do that. People will willingly give away their freedoms for pleasure, or for whatever, there's a reason, like normally technology eases or saves you time, and it's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So for convenience and luxury, people will give up their rights. So you've got both of these about how it's going to be done. And we saw when it came to COVID, like you had very strange individuals, like a guy is sitting in the car by himself, but he's still wearing the mask. Yeah, or he's outside in the park by himself, but he's still wearing the mask. So you have people that you're like, you don't need to do that, brother. Like you're by yourself in the car.
Yeah.
Like I understand if you're doing it somewhere else, but where's the need here? So you have certain people that are willing to give their rights away. For example, there's a place over here. Yeah, you can put a chip. And I think in one of the Scandinavian countries, they've started it. In Sweden, they put a chip here. And then using that chip, you can do contactless payments.
Oh
You can
my
enter
God.
your house. You can use it as an Oyster card. But it's embedding something into your hand. Now, would you be open to that?
No.
But there are certain people, just for convenience, saying, I don't need to carry my car keys anymore. I just put it in my hand. I just don't need to carry all these cards, mate. I just use it in my hand. Just because of that luxury and convenience, the person is willing to become a machine, in other words. You know what I mean? Even the Neuralink, yeah, it's Elon Musk's Neuralink, which is planted in the head.
By the way,
And-
apparently he's going to Bangladesh soon.
Oh, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. It'll be interesting because a lot of people see Bangladesh as open season now. Post Hasina, it's become very opportunistic for a lot of business people and even foreign involvement. And
I
India,
think
of course,
politically
is-
as well, to kind of get closer to, Far East. Bangladesh is quite an important location.
Yeah, to be fair, even in Primark, a lot of good clothes that come in, you'll see made in
Made in
Bangladesh,
Bangladesh.
mostly. Then made in Pakistan. but Bangladesh, I would say more so. So Bangladesh already does a lot of good quality merchandise and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go there
Back to Neuralink.
and say Balasoni.
Balasoni.
You know, some people say Balasoni, isn't it?
Balasoni.
That's cheating.
That's
Nah.
cheating.
Yes.
Bala Asoni.
Balasoni.
Bhai, do you send money to back home?
Do I send money
Yeah.
back home?
It's
No.
a very random question.
No,
You don't?
I don't know.
Okay.
I actually no, I do it via proxy.
Proxy.
Yeah, like come to think of it now, my mum will say, "Oh, this is going on there. This is this person I need, or that's in they're struggling to do this." So then I'll say, "Okay, I'll give this," because we do have family there. So yeah, I guess the answer is yes. Do I do it directly? No.
Random question.
Yeah,
If you were given the opportunity
yeah.
to invent a law in this country, what would it be?
The thing is that there is like a religious backing to it, but I would say the amount of body a person can expose in public, because I know a lot of brothers be sweating when they go out, and that's not because of the heat, because of the fitna. And in the summer, so many brothers you just see them, they're stressed. They're like, bro, peak out there. And it is really, really difficult. And I feel it. I feel it for the brothers. I feel it, of course, myself. We all do. So if there is a limit to the amount that a person can expose of
Men
their,
and
of their
women,
body.
right?
Yeah, both. Kids as well. Like I've seen, you got kids walking with their fathers, little girls wearing inappropriate clothing. And I'm thinking, how is dad okay with his daughter walking with him with that level of exposure? Like, you guys are worried about these gangs. I mean, this is like you're contributing to that, you know what I mean?
Hey guys, I hope you have been enjoying today's episode of Side by Side with myself as your host Kazi Shafiqur Rahman and our guest, brother Zeeshan, Smile2Jannah. If you have been enjoying this conversation so far, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates me and my team here at Side by Side to continue with our journey episode after episode. This episode has been sponsored by Taptap Send. With that said, let's get straight back into the show. Talk to me about this, because they say, well, they've been sold, mainly sisters, they've been sold that it's empowerment. Being able to do whatever you want, wear whatever you want is empowerment. How would you comedically, explain to them, no, it's not empowerment, it's enslavement?
Well, I think that job was done by another comedian. He met this woman and he was speaking to her. And then as he was speaking to her, she was like, just because I'm dressed this way doesn't mean I'm available, yeah? And then he just looks at her and he goes, that would work in no other aspect of our society. You see someone getting robbed and you run to somebody who looks like a policeman. You go, officer, there's a person. Just because I look like a police officer doesn't mean I'm a police officer. You know what I mean? So if you're dressed a certain way, people are going to treat you a certain way. And the way society is, if you're dressed loosely, you get attributed as somebody that is loose. So that's the psychology, and that's how it is. Like, this has been done in trials and tests as well, where when a man sees a woman in a bikini, the part of the brain that lights up is to do with handling tools and the likes. In other words, he views her as an object, which is very ironic, because if you look in 1961, there's a clip of British women who have been shown like a bikini, and they're very averse to it, and they're like, this is disgusting. They would never wear this. But how did they do this? Because of what you said. You had certain propagandists like Edward Bernays, who sold, cigarettes to women by linking it to empowerment. So these are all ways of men fulfilling their lusts and fantasies by packaging it with a certain idea and ideal.
Perverted men, effectively.
Yeah, perverted men, and I would argue certain perverted women as well, because when a woman dresses less, then the
True.
other woman looks at her and the attention she's getting, and then she'll go, oh, so she got that attention, and then she'll now mimic that. So then after the initial interaction of the man of saying, oh, wear this, women will typically do that stuff themselves. And that's what we're seeing today. When you enter the gym, you'll have women that deliberately are wearing those sorts of clothes thinking, yeah, this is good for my workout. Why is it that a female paramedic or or a male fireman, I mean, he's really hot. Why doesn't he take his thing off? You know what I mean? Or female paramedic is, yeah, it's blazing, mate. It's the summer. You've got the sun out, mate. But you got paramedics going out suited, booted. So you're thinking, you're oppressing them? No, it's their job. No, it's the way, you know, you have to preserve them, and they have a certain role. Well, women have a certain role as well. And that's to, you know, what's the word? To when you're bringing up children, nurturing, the nurturing of children. Yeah, that's their primary role as in a relationship that has kids. And that's the thing, bro. Like they don't understand. And somebody made this point, and she had this level of argumentation. She said that, so you're saying that if you're oppressed if you wear clothes, so that means you are liberated when you take clothes off. So the only way for you to be liberated is to take clothes off, which again goes against these liberal principles, because when they entered the Native Americas, they would say that these people are, what's the word? When they see these jungly human beings, what do you call them?
It slipped my mind.
Not barbarians, but they're like not barbarians, not backwards, uncivilized.
Okay.
So when they would see them, they would call them uncivilized because they wore less clothes, and the Western folk wore more clothes. Why has that changed today?
Yeah.
Surely the Muslims are more civilized because we're more dressed, and you guys going around in your panties are, you know, less civilized. You know what I mean? Because in Germany now, if you take your kid, Allah na kare, Allah forbid, you take your kid to a swimming pool, there's going to be women going around with their milkers dangling about. And you know why that is? It's you can search this up. It was in the Independent, and the reason being because there was an individual that had, you know, their breasts out, and then the pool guy came and go, look, can you cover those up, please? Because we got kids. And he's like, I identify as a man. How dare you misgender me? So because of the sensibilities of the LGBT, they now had to change the law that, you know what, just not going to know.
What on earth is going on, man? What is all of this nonsense?
So now it's they're allowed to be topless in these swimming pools in which there are kids there. And not to mention, just a couple of days ago, I think there was a teacher that identified as a cat. So, yeah, the civilized world is apparently in the West, where people identify as cats, and you've got topless women walking around in front of little children.
I mean, I guess in some respect, I don't like Trump. I used to like him when he was a businessman. Now with his Gaza situation and everything, I'm completely off. But there's one thing that he's doing is I guess recalibrating the whole, you know,
the whole gender situation.
Situation.
So he has a very right-wing base over there. Yeah, and what we've noticed also is political parties will sway with the majority. Here, Conservatives, even Labour, they weren't interested in that stuff. However, the Conservative vote base is centre-right/right. So they are also against this whole gender stuff. Labour has a significant left voting vote base. That's why you're not going to see Keir Starmer at this moment in time go towards not demonizing, but speaking against that sort of stuff. So political parties lean with wherever most of the votes come from. In terms of confusion, bro, whenever you speak to an atheist and you say, do you believe in right and wrong? No atheist can say yes, because right and wrong, according to them, is subjective. Yeah, it's up to the individual, up to societies. There's no objective measure. So they can't put right or wrong under a microscope. They can't measure it because they believe in all that they see. So if there is no right and wrong, bro, then what happens is people follow their desires. Yeah. And this is what the Quran says as well. It alludes to the people who take their pleasures as their gods. And that's referring to, I would say, there's a strong parallel to a philosopher called Jeremy Bentham, whose principle, he was a father of utilitarianism, which is, you know, something is good or right or whatever if the pleasure outweighs the pain. If there's more pleasure that outweighs the pain, then it's good. If there's more pain that outweighs the pleasure, then it's bad. That's literally an embodiment of the ayah that is explicating that they will take their pleasures to be their gods. And when there is no anchorage and no foundation, no religion, because the UK is now officially an atheistic country, it's no longer Christian because it's gone over the 50% mark, then what do you expect when they believe morality is subjective? Tomorrow they can say, you know, it's okay to eat human flesh, or it's okay to, you know, have a fandango time with your hamster or your dog or whatever it is. And there are people doing that. And it's strange because people are having more relationships with AI and robots than they are with human beings, because there's no anchorage, there's no foundation, because religion provided that foundation. And that's why in philosophy, Friedrich Nietzsche rightly said, God is dead. He wasn't celebrating that God is dead, but he was actually lamenting the fact that God, according to him, he was referring to society, that God has left the society, like society is not paying attention to God anymore. And then he was like, okay, well, what do we do? Where will people get their morality from? And that's what philosophy has really tried and attempted to give the answers, but unsuccessfully. It's all subjective.
Wow. This is... How do you get all this information? I mean, do you read a lot of books?
Yeah. Reading, listening, debating, and then when you find gaps in your knowledge, going back, re-revising, and then, a lot of
So are you more of a reader or listener?
I'm more of a visual learner.
So you like to read?
So I like to, it's a combination. So like there's certain apps, isn't it? You've got big books, then you've got certain apps which summarize books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, reading, there's no escape from reading. If you want your children, if you want to be somebody in this society, leave something for your kids, you have to read. Like without reading, I'm sorry, you're not going to be an interesting person to be married to be friends with, to even be, you know, a boss or a CEO. You have to be reading. So for me, I'll watch, I'll read to my, like it's challenging, but I force myself to read, or read book summaries, documentaries. There's some very good documentaries, and even explainer videos.
I love documentaries.
There's now with YouTube, I would actually say that you have masters or people that spend a lot of time researching the thing, and then they know they have to present that in a very accessible way.
Yeah, they simplify it, make it fun. And I think there's a creator that makes education fun, science. I think science learning very fun. So
And now even with ChatGPT, you can ask it stuff and just ask it to simplify, or okay, explain this such that a child would understand, or explain this for a layman.
It's mad. I got my children on ChatGPT. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but I think it helps them with the learning as well. You know, it really. So I ask them, like, prompt or ask it, I want to become Hafiz. What do I do? So in a very, you know, children friendly tone, because we play it out loud, and it says it's like it gives you a whole game plan on how to become a Hafiz.
MashaAllah.
So
It's like a knife, I guess, isn't it?
yeah. I mean,
You
look,
can use it to cut an apple, or you can use it to stab somebody.
exactly.
And
So
we're in London, so we use it to stab somebody.
you're a funny guy. See, you speak very much on the edge. Like, are you not afraid? Like before, you mentioned a few things. You know, what was that word? Milkers or something. Like,
Oh, yeah.
as a akhi with the beard and the
Yeah.
look that you have, some might confuse you with Osama bin Laden or something. Like, how do you get away with it?
No, don't use Osama bin Laden. Use that Baghdadi guy. Because a lot of people use Osama bin Laden, but the new generation doesn't know who he is, isn't it?
No.
They know ISIS more than Al Qaeda.
Yeah. That's old news now.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, they confuse us for. Well, alhamdulillah, nowadays it's less so. I think when I was in secondary school, if you had a beard, you're right, it would be more so you'd be associated with these guys. But can't remember the last time somebody used that kind of example. Oh, it's Osama bin Laden or a Baghdadi guy or you're extremist. Yeah, I think people have grown out of that.
Yeah, that's become
yeah.
old news. But from Muslim community, like I'm sure you get the way you speak is very much on the edge. Like I'm not saying something wrong, but at the same time, if someone wants to be offended by it, then they can pull it towards them and be offended.
But that's the amazing of being on the edge, isn't it? Anyone that can ask you, you say, "Look, I'm on the edge." So I haven't really crossed over. When I cross over, then you can tell me.
Do you do that on purpose? Like you be on the edge, or you're just like that? You know, some people they're just very abrupt in how they speak, and they just can't help it.
I think it's a bit of both. I think to sometimes maintain, I don't know, attention. You do sometimes need to go on the risque stuff.
Yeah.
However, obviously, the Deen gives us boundaries, so don't cross those boundaries. It's very important. Sometimes, I just like getting to the point. To be honest, I just.
When did
cut
you
the
know you
fluff.
were funny?
Secondary school, I think. Secondary
just-
school. It was just like when I would say stuff, or when we would do, like me and another kid, when we would create like stuff or jokes or whatnot, and then we'd see people's reaction to it. Then I was like, oh, okay, you find that funny, because comedy is subjective.
Yeah.
And different people have different levels of comedy. With one brother I know, I'll make the most basic jokes and the guy will be just cracking up. He'll praise me in front of like 4 or 5 others. Zeeshan is hilarious, bro. And then like for some people, you need to work that bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Like certain people have been through certain things in their life. So for them, certain like dark humor will work more than other humor. And yeah, I think it's definitely subjective, but yeah, I think it was from secondary school.
Have you met Gaz Khan?
I haven't, no. He, I think, yeah. Because the reason I was going to say something, but I haven't name dropped people, isn't it?
No, you haven't.
Yeah, and the thing is that, let's just say, if in my position, if there's a camera on me, I wouldn't be touching women. I wouldn't be saying the F word. There's certain things that I wouldn't be doing.
Okay.
And I see certain comedians doing, and I'm like, nah, you know, when you're...
Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, when you're crossing and compromising on Islamic principles, nah, I can't rate that.
Now we have sisters comedians as well, and I guess here in the UK, outside of the UK, you know, effing and blinding as well.
Bro, this is the thing.
Where does it all end? Where does it stop?
When it comes to comedy, here's the challenge. Like, I know I can make a joke, stick a F word in there, it's going to be hilarious. Everyone here is going to be laughing, yeah? Put a sexual innuendo in there, you're going to be laughing. But the challenge is that when you're doing jokes that you know they need a certain delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intellectually, it needs to be stimulating as well.
I'll give you an example. It's like, I want to use this, yeah? So I've been refining it in my head. But it's about delivery, yeah? And I want to use that as Speaker's Corner. If I see an Israeli, yeah? So it's like, I was like, let me tell you a joke, mate. Yeah? And he's like, but I want to talk about Palestinians. I was like, wait, just 1 second, yeah? So there was an Israeli guy, yeah? He was going on holiday, He's like, oh, okay. So he went to the airport. He got stopped by the border force, and they were like, name? He goes, yeah, my name is Benjamin, whatever, innit? Schumeister, whatever. So he's like, okay. Age, 31. Occupation? Nah, just going for holiday, mate. Not at the moment. Just want to take time off, you know?
Oh my God! You know what? They are very intense because I've had some clips on Instagram. Oh my God! Like they're like starting point with violence. Not like I don't think I agree with you, or there's no like build up, like straight, like they'll go all
It's because
in.
they've been allowed since like 1948. You've got the West propping them up, allowing them, like especially America and the UK have been helping them with billions of dollars, not holding them to account. And with America and Britain defending it, Israel has literally been given a green light. Now suddenly with social media, and you've got other people like alternative, like people like yourself, alternative media presenters holding them to account. It's something they're not necessarily used to. Like social media has really changed the game. Yeah, especially there's somebody very high up that I was speaking to, and he said, if I had to quote one name, and that name is Bassem Youssef. Bassem Youssef really switched the game. And again, he's a fellow comedian. Yeah, and that's what comedians are able to do. It was that interview because there's been loads of interviews in which people have been given equally fantastic facts. The ones at the top, Norman Finkelstein and Ilan Pape. However, Bassem Youssef is the one that shines. Why? Because people don't remember what you said. People remember how you made them feel when you said it.
True.
And that's the crux of why you have to pay attention to delivery.
Yeah.
Delivery is important. Like, even though I said this joke, I'll still be refining it in my head. Because when I said it now, I'll be thinking the occupation bit was too clear. I need to build it up a bit more. I need to maybe go forward. I need to maybe pull a face. So I think effing and blinding and sexual innuendos are cheats.
Yeah.
It's cheating away from actual comedy. That's what it is. And we have to work harder to make people laugh. People will be like, the dad jokes and this and that.
Who's the biggest Muslim comedian at the moment?
When you say Muslim comedian,
Muslim halal, within the boundary comedian.
Because somebody that's not within the boundaries, and who's Muslim, Dave Chappelle. He is arguably the most famous comedian. Yeah. From the Muslim comedians, I wouldn't know, to be honest. Somebody who keeps it within the lines. No idea. I don't know.
It's quite hard.
When I was growing up, I remember somebody called Baba Ali.
Baba Ali. I was gonna say, you know what, you remind me of Baba Ali, the way you talk.
Yeah.
What happened to Baba Ali?
Yeah. Oh, hooray for Baba Ali. Yeah, he was, mashallah, growing up, I used to watch him as well. So with Baba Ali, like, then he started doing stand-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Baba Ali, growing up, there was somebody, I don't know.
Muammar? Like, the Palestinian comedian.
No. He F's and blinds, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
And free mixes and women is hugging and this and that. So I wouldn't say that he's within he's again, like, if you were to say Muslim comedian, not like within the boundaries, but yeah, he's definitely up there. But within
Do you think
the
that's
boundaries,
just good enough? Someone's saying that they're Muslims and they're out there just, putting the word out there, okay, I'm a Muslim and, I speak like a Muslim, I look like a Muslim. Is that good enough of a dawah or starting point of a dawah? Surely they're going to get some reward, no?
Yeah, definitely.
Even Ghaz Khan, like with his beard and everything, visibly, like, you would think, okay, like, that guy shouldn't be here, but let's see what he's got to say. And then when he starts speaking, wow, like,
It's an interesting argument. And I'll tell you what comes to mind with both sides of the argument. One, that people will say Muslims don't have that much involvement in the media. Therefore, when people see and become desensitized to them, they're like us. Yeah. However, is that the sort of message you want to give them, that these Muslims, is that a message you want to give to other Muslims, that you can only be acceptable, like the Quran says, they'll only be happy with you if you relinquish your religion?
yeah.
that's not really a helpful message. I understand that there are certain people in certain fields that are softening people towards Islam and Muslims, and they have their place. That's one side of the argument. And the other side of the argument is this, that what are you teaching the others? That's the only way to become famous, that you have to relinquish your religion. And at a time when Tupac would refuse to play a Muslim drug dealer because the two didn't connect in his head.
Yeah.
He said, Muslim and drug dealer just don't go together. Can't play that role. Whilst if that same role was offered to somebody today, they would jump at that chance because Muslims have themselves watered down this religion. So I think a definitely strictness and boundaries are there for a reason. Like, go in mainstream, do what you are doing, but do it within certain boundaries. Don't show them that, this is Islam because that's what you're doing. Because you're giving a false perception of what Islam really is. It's open to argument. In some societies, I think people would say we have no representation, and some representation is better than no representation. But then the counter argument would be, then don't you want that some representation to be accurate and a good representation of Islam rather than something that makes Islam and Muslims look bad? So, yeah.
Yeah, there's well, I hope they get some reward for what they're doing, because ultimately, bro, like, we all have issues, we all have dramas going on behind closed doors, and we don't know who's who or how.
Here's the thing, when you do something publicly, though,
Yeah, true.
that then becomes like,
Yeah, true. Look, talk to me about cancel culture. Like, so obviously we are all equally passionate.
Yeah.
We are equally passionate about the whole Gaza situation, the Palestine situation. We're all raising awareness. Some of us are making dua as well, doing tahajjud.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Like,
May Allah accept your tahajjud.
I'm not. I haven't. I'm not going to pretend that I have, but
Okay.
yes, for the whole Muslim ummah, yes, the dua is there. Now, imagine, like, before this whole situation happened, and you are some sort of an influencer in the mainstream space, and you're quite big, and the brand deals that you have is I guess from the mainstream companies.
Yeah.
And just the way you might be working for a big company, like, say, I don't know, Starbucks or something, or just the way you wouldn't resign from the job because of who they are, is it right for people to cancel those people that haven't spoken out? Because the way I see it, and I'm not trying to defend, but it sounds like I'm defending.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is, if they were to just speak up, then they will lose everything overnight. Is that a prudent
Lose what,
way?
though?
Like, the brand deals, and everything gets cancelled, and they are like jobless.
So here are, again, there's two parts or two kind of ways that you can see it. One, you say that you're working for a big company to exert influence. Like, that's the eventual goal, that I'm in this company. I want to exert influence and do something meaningful. What's more meaningful than to stand up for a community that's being genocided? So for some people, that's going to be the line. And they're going to say, you know what, like, I'm willing to give it all up. That's why you had like scores of people in Google, speaking out against this, and the next day they were fired. There have been people that have lost their space. There have been people that have effectively been kicked out of the industry, and a lot of people that are going to lose work. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Hadid sisters did lose work, or other, like Mark Ruffalo or people like that have spoken out. They will lose work, and it is going to be more difficult for them. However, what they say, there's this, I think Macklemore, is, I don't know his first name, but he is a musician, and he went on stage and he said, you know what, forget it. Like, I'm going to speak out because enough's enough. Like, I want to be able to look at my kids in the eyes and tell them that I did something. For some people, bro, the thinking is more deeper. They're thinking in terms of their kids. They're thinking in terms of the future of society and stuff like that. For them, the decision comes easy. For others, they're like, you know what? I want to stay here longer because I feel I can do something in a certain capacity or whatnot. And I'm sure they have their reasons, and they're doing what they're doing to be a part of a different puzzle piece. And you're right, you can't expect everyone to risk their positions and places. However, certain people are doing that because they feel that this is the line.
This is the right thing
This
to do.
is the line. Genocide is the line. For others, they're like, okay, but I want to play a bigger part, and I feel if I stay here, I can do something bigger. If that's the case, fine. If you're just doing it just because of brand deals and just because money and this and that, then that money is going to be used as a noose around your neck when your time comes. Because if they're not showing mercy to people being genocided, if tomorrow the time comes for you to be kicked out of your place, with nothing, penniless, then that time will come and no one will side with you either. So I guess it's a matter of perspective.
If UK banned tea, what would be the next national drink?
UK banned tea.
Mm-hmm.
Which tea? All tea.
Yorkshire tea, I suppose.
Yorkshire tea. Just stick with karak chai then, innit?
Oh, dear.
Then people will actually taste what real tea is.
And would you stand behind it, and would you propagate the karak movement?
Tea.
Or what are you, coffee guy? Or
No, I'm a tea guy actually. You got it spot on. I'm not a coffee guy. But I would fight against the principle. Like, what's led to society banning tea? Like, I would stand against that movement. Like, if it's tea today, it's going to be muffins tomorrow. If it's muffins tomorrow, it's going to be croissant the day after. Like, where does it stop? So I would be on the side of the people stopping the ban. I wouldn't back it at all.
Okay. Are you like, in terms of politically, like, what do you lean towards? Like, Labourish or conservative-ish, or what's the new one? The what's that new party, man? The Nigel Farage party.
Big up Nigel.
Big up Nigel.
Yeah, what is that called? Begins with R, innit? Reform.
Reform.
Yeah, reform. To be honest, none of the three. Because typically as Asians, we typically do lean towards the Labour. However, Labour's stance on the whole Gaza thing and Keir Starmer's open support of collective punishment and his inaction, or not even his ability to talk against Israel, has been pathetic. Like, you can't support that at all. So for me, I'm partyless.
Partyless, yeah. If you were to stand up as a MP, where are you from, by the way? Which
South
area?
London.
South London. What would your manifesto be? One of the manifesto.
One of the manifesto. For Prime Minister or for just
MP? Let's say you want to be the MP of your constituency.
Yeah, like, what can MPs really do? That's the thing. Like, I wouldn't waste my time with that. Like, either make me Prime Minister or let me just
okay.
sit at home.
If you were competing against Keir Starmer,
if I was competing,
what would you say to the English nation, the white nation of this country, the non-Asian nation? Listen, I'm here. Here's what I'm going to do. What would you say to them?
I would say basic things, isn't it? Like look at what's poisoning society. Yeah, what's poisoning society is foods. Yeah, so I would say that clear identification of the poisonous things within our foods. Like, there's a lot of garbage in the foods, isn't it? People have it, and every other day someone's getting cancer. Ban them. Frankly, you can't have that. Can't give that crap to people.
Okay.
Yeah. Ban those foods. More strict against those guys. Yeah. Number two. So you got the food. Number two, make the gender stuff clear. Yeah. Now, of course, there are things going on, but they're saying that get rid of conversion therapy. That if somebody thinks that they're one gender, not the other, you can't even now give them the counseling to help them. They
should be able to do it if they want.
Yeah, they should be like ban.
Okay.
Like,
so you'd clarify the gender situation. What else would you
yeah,
do?
I'd contribute to fixing the gender situation. Number 3, I would say in terms of like dress code and stuff like that, like bring back haya for kids. Like you got kids showing, a lot of their bodies and stuff like that. I'd say no, that's not allowed. There needs to be more covered. Yeah, like society.
No
like
bad
that.
food. No, clarify the gender situation and
Yeah.
implement haya policy.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
else?
Yeah.
Don't forget, you've got Muslims, non-Muslims,
Yeah.
majority English, white. They're your
Yeah.
population.
Yeah. I'd say adultery. There needs to be consequences to adultery. Yeah.
That sounds like Sharia law.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. According to their culture and according to their own logic, you have a contract, and if you go against that contract, there are consequences.
True.
So, in a relationship, there has to be a contract. Even if you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend, have a contract in place, and introduce that wali thing or something like, because these are non-Muslims, you can't enforce your things,
Yeah.
but you can meet with them and say how, like, you guys are into boyfriend and girlfriend and all that sort of stuff. Now, what we want to do is we want to help you that people don't get taken advantage of
Yeah.
in those situations.
Have some checks and balances in place.
Checks
for
and
you,
balances
like a
for that.
framework that you can follow.
Yeah, the framework, because you can't impose something on them. So
Yeah.
something that they agree upon and
Yeah.
you know what, Mohammed, that's correct. My name's not Mohammed, it's Zeeshan. Oh, yeah, Mohammed, you said the right thing, mate. All right, I guess I'm Mohammed. So yeah, a bit of that. So that will do a lot of healing in their culture. Yeah, because a lot of counselors are dealing with trauma from either inappropriate kind of touching and all that sort of stuff, boyfriend, girlfriend sort of stuff from an early age. So you just you heal the society. You heal the society. So food, I said.
Gender situation.
And when it comes to alcohol, banning adverts of alcohol, smoking, and all of that sort of stuff. Like putting that in, like not making it as accessible. Like today you've got streamers, YouTubers, and football, you see Carlsberg there and all that sort of stuff. None of that. Yeah, it's not promoted. It's not encouraged. If they want to do it, they do it.
So
Yeah.
do you reckon then Dubai model it can be replicated in somewhere in the UK?
Well, Dubai is very loose when it comes to their
The
when it comes
haya
to
and
other
everything.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, some of those aspects I would say could be implemented over here. Yeah, why not? And the other thing is more strict on the welfare system. Like, not that many people should be allowed to just claim welfare. Like nowadays, too many people are claiming welfare. And even when it comes to, like certain scams, like the way insurance,
Mhm.
like when you're in an accident, certain people, they know, oh no, this is going to happen. And
Yeah.
that, like, mortgages and the exploitation of interest, that sort curb that sort of stuff.
Wow.
But there's loads more. I would
There's
do as
loads
well.
more, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have English neighbors? Do you interact with
Yeah,
them?
yeah.
Like, what do they?
They love me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you guys go to each other's house or?
Whoa. They have their house, I have my house. Hello, how are you? You're right? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, that's it. Khalas. Bit of food. Yeah, can you take my parcel? Yeah, of course, mate. I can take your parcel. Yeah. Let me know if you need anything. Kushti. Yeah.
Oh dear.
But yeah, there is another neighbor, and yeah, I have been to his house. Yeah. He hasn't been to mine, but that's, yeah.
How can we do like more friendly dawah in this country? Like, obviously there's one thing that going straight out to speakers corner, doing dawah stalls, and what are the kind of nuanced ways of doing dawah?
I think Habib said it really well. Habib said non-Muslims don't read Quran and Sunnah, they read you. So I think us implementing Islam in our lives, when we go out and through transactions and through how we are, people will respect it a lot. I'll give you an example. There was just very recent, she's just gone back now, like a couple of days ago. There was an American woman that flew to Pakistan, and she went there because she liked this 19-year-old I can't call him kid, teenager, and she wanted to marry him. She and him had spoken online. Who catfished who? No one knows for sure, but someone got catfished. Then over there, the family of that kid said, no, we're not going to allow this. And then she stayed in that area. She has like bouts of mania, like she's not mentally 100%. But then she was taken in by a humanitarian, and then the camera crews came and followed her around in her journey there and whatnot. She became a celebrity. She became a meme because she was funny, she was hilarious, but she was very unreasonable. Like she was demanding money, she was being rude to the people trying to help her, and a lot of non-Muslims were watching this because TikToks were coming out, but the Pakistanis were all but polite. Actually, that's bad wording. I was trying to be fancy there, you see, but I think stick with basic English. They were very, very hospitable and polite to her. To such a degree, I made a video on Smile2Jannah very recently in which I compiled their clips in that video, and I tried to put in as many as I could. And you had people from all different backgrounds. Trust me, you have the English of the English and the American of the American. You had blacks, because she's black as well. A lot of black people really happy and saying, you know what, Pakistan, I thought there were just beheadings over there and women getting lashed and people covered, and I thought she was going to lose her head, mate. I thought she's finished. Seeing how hospitable they are and how they're laughing with her, and you got police sitting with her, braiding her hair and all that sort of stuff. That, just seeing the akhlaq of the Pakistani people with that woman, and where's this akhlaq come from? Let's be honest, it's Islam.
Yeah.
It's the Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
Yeah.
So it comes from Islam. So a lot of people, just by seeing that, have become so taken aback. Like, yo, one guy literally said, I've been lied to. I have been lied to in the media with regards to these people. I'm going to go there. I want to go there. If this is how they're treating somebody that's not fully there, then imagine if I go there. So that was one of the case. So Habib mentioned that, and that's a good case study. And the other case study was of Yusuf Yohana, who was a Pakistani cricket player. He was the only Christian in the Pakistani cricket team. The only one. Everybody else was Muslim. For so long, the guy just hadn't accepted Islam. And people kept asking him and asking him and asking him. Then eventually, he accepted Islam. And they asked him, how comes, why now? And he goes, then his name became Muhammad Yusuf. And then he goes, before they used to tell me about Islam, but I didn't see Islam. Why? So if Islam's not impacting you, why should I follow Islam and accept Islam? Then Sayyid Anwar started growing his beard, started doing da'wah and the likes. Inzamam ul-Haq did, Saqlain Mushtaq did. These are the old school guys, isn't it? So when they did, and then he would say, oh, let's go out. And they would say, no, we can't. It's not in our faith. Then he was like, aha. Now I'm interested.
So they like a bit of like rules and regulations, some sort of like, checks and balances.
Bro,
not everything should be allowed and acceptable.
They do like that. And that's the sort of stuff, ironically, Andrew Tate and all of these guys like, because the non-religious life has no boundaries. Islam has the right amount of boundaries. You have the Jewish culture that has they take it to an extreme that on Saturday you can't work the toaster, can't work the kettle, you can't drive a car, so it's impractical. Islamically, it's more practical, is more nuanced.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is the best form of da'wah is just show your Islam, live as a Muslim, because people will be affected by that. Because in a life of in a society of individualism and materialism, when they see somebody not individualistic and not materialistic, they're going to be taken aback by that. Oh, you don't have a price? I thought everybody had a price. You can't be bought? No. No amount of money will get me to do this. No amount of money will get me to do this. Oh, okay. Why would you help that person? Because my religion tells me to do so. And there's so many cases, Feed, he posts these clips of people Muslims doing exactly that, and non-Muslims being shocked. Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you giving your wealth away? Because nowadays in these motivational clips, they're like, it's all about you, mate. Worry about yourself. and be the best that you can be. And you. What about your mum? I met somebody at Speaker's Corner. I was telling him about the rights of a mum, and he goes, I'm supposed to respect the mother? Like the guy was confused. Like he's like, "What? Really?" He was genuine. He was like, "Oh, really?"
And we think like they should think like us and they should know what we know, but to them it's so not obvious.
Exactly.
It's like how we think is in our minds. We just don't show it. We don't express it.
We take it
Maybe
for
we should
granted.
speak more. Maybe we should come out more. Maybe we should do more good contents, about the adab and akhlaq of how we are and who we are.
More content like Sad by Sad.
That brings us very nicely to the end of our conversation. Brother Zeeshan, honestly, we can talk forever. We need to have some karak chai, at some
Let's
point.
do it, bro.
Definitely.
None of that powder stuff.
No.
from these
It needs
shops.
to be
That's
proper.
dead.
It needs to be proper, inshallah. Brother Zeeshan, Jazakallah khairan for making your journey all the way to East London.
East London's.
East London's. Jazakallah khairan. And I hope our viewers have enjoyed the conversation. If we have made any mistakes, if we have
Just
said
edit it out.
anything, if we have said anything,
Just delete it. Imagine if the podcast ends up being 5 minutes.
No. Look, we hate to delete stuff. I mean,
But
like
if it's
it
5
raw.
minutes, I'm going to be impressed. I'm gonna be like,
No.
That
No.
much they kept in, yeah?
No.
I'm impressed.
Alhamdulillah. So, yeah, if we have offended anyone, it's not
Then-
our intention.
So you're lost, isn't it? Tough. Toughen up. Grow a backbone.
Thank you very much.
My
Jazakallah.
pleasure, brother.
And that's it for today on Side by Side. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with myself as your host and our guest, Brother Zeeshan Ali, also known as Smile2Jannah. I have been, as you have seen, smiling throughout the episode, and I hope you have too. And if you have, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates me and my team here at Side by Side to continue with our journey, episode after episode. Comment below with any guest recommendations you may have. We will do our absolute level best to get them on board, and share this episode with friends and family. And we will reunite on our next episode. Assalamu alaikum.